If you're looking to get into real estate photography, having the right lens is essential. A real estate photographer needs to be fully equipped with the right lenses to get the best shots for their clients, no matter what property they encounter. The best lens for real estate photography will enable you to cover all sorts of spaces. Property exteriors, spacious kitchens, or pokey little box rooms will all need to be covered. You should be able to show the best qualities of every space. No matter what the room, you should leave your clients happy and satisfied. But what is the best lens for real estate photography? Stick to the end of the video to know all about them. Number 1. Canon EF 16-35mm f4L IS USM. If you're a Canon user, this is the wide-angle lens you'll want to get your hands on. It's an L-series lens which denotes a higher quality glass and builds. The 16-35mm range is ideal for real estate photography. It's wide enough to capture even a small space in full. The 35mm zoom is ideal if you're in a large space but want a tighter composition. The Canon 16-35mm also has an inbuilt optical image stabilizer, a handy feature if you're struggling to get the right shot in a tight space. Similar lenses have f-stops down to f2.8, but these lenses tend to sell for twice the price. The f-stop range may seem like a disadvantage, but keep in mind that you'll often be using a tripod. Also, when shooting property interiors, you'll need to keep the entire room in focus using higher f-stops. This is Canon's best lens for real estate photography in the full-frame category. Number 2. Nikon Nikkor 16-35mm f4. For full-frame Nikon users, this is the wide-angle lens that you'll want to aim for. The characteristics are similar to the Canon lens described before, making it ideal for professional real estate photography. It's heavier than its Canon counterpart, but the nano-crystal coating helps to reduce ghosting and flare in different lighting conditions. The Nikkor lens also has Nikon's vibration reduction image stabilization system built in. This system offers a real benefit if you're struggling with low natural light. The Nikon Nikkor 16-35mm is similar in price to the Canon option and has equally splendid results. For Nikon, this is the best lens for real estate photography. Number 3. Sigma 12-24mm f4 DG HSM Art. The Sigma 12-24mm lens is available for both Canon and Nikon, but make sure it has the correct lens mount before you buy it. This is a great budget wide-angle lens for real estate photography. This lens performs beautifully throughout its focal length range, one of the widest on this list. And the lens is coated to prevent flare and ghosting. The HSM stands for Hypersonic Motor, Sigma's smooth, quick, quiet autofocusing system. The Sigma 12-24 f4 HSM Art is heavier than both the Canon and Nikon options, but the build and image quality make this an excellent option for real estate photography without breaking the bank. Number 4. Sony Cell 1224G 12-24mm f4.22. For Sony users, the Cell 1224G 12-24mm is the best wide-angle lens for real estate photography available. This lens is compatible with all Sony's E-mount full-frame cameras. Its 12-24mm range allows you to capture wide spaces, both exterior and interior, without any aberration. This is also the widest focal range offered on the Sony E-mount range, making it ideal for real estate photography. It's similar in price to both its Canon and Nikon rivals. For a real estate photographer, the Sony Cell 1224G 12-24mm is fantastic value for money. Number 5. Tokina ATX 17-35mm f4 ProFX. This Tokina lens is available for both Canon and Nikon full-frame cameras, and for the price tag, the wide-angle image quality is still impressive. It's sharp throughout most of the frame and offers a low f-stop to allow enough light in for interior shots. It has an excellent range of focal lengths that can work with rooms of any size. The Tokina ATX is not quite up to the level of the lenses previously mentioned. but it does have good quality wide-angle capture at an affordable price tag. The Tokina ATX is the perfect option if you're a real estate photographer on a budget. Number 6. Fujifilm XF1024mm f4R OIS-WR. The Fujifilm XF1024mm is one of the 2 ultra-wide-angle zoom lenses available from Fuji. Fuji also offers the XF8-16mm f2.8R LM-WR if you need something slightly wider or with a stop-more aperture, though it is twice the price. We picked the 10-24mm for this list since it's plenty wide for most real estate needs and is much more budget-friendly. The XF 10-24mm uses advanced optics such as 4 extra low dispersion and 4 aspherical elements to reduce chromatic aberration and distortion and improve sharpness and color accuracy. In addition, Fuji uses a super electron beam coating (EBC), a multi-layered anti-reflective coating to cut down on lens flare and ghosting, a necessity for real estate lenses. This lens also has a filter thread, making it easier to use filters than other ultra-wide-angle options. This lens is also the lightest one on this list, at only 13.6 ounces. So if you travel for your real estate gigs or partake in landscape photography, this is a great choice. Number 7. Canon TSE17mm f4L best lens with tilt shift function. This is the best option among tilt-shift lenses. This high-end lens provides minimal distortion even at the edges of the image. Canon TSE17mm f4L tilt-shift lens allows plus or minus 6.5 tilt and plus or minus 12mm shift. Its aspherical elements together with ultra-low dispersion and some techniques minimize any sorts of aberrations. SWS surface and super spectra coating suppress glare and reflections. It has a floating internal focusing mechanism that provides high-quality images across the entire focus range. The features of these models complement each other. When you're cornered in a small room, a 24mm camera will not be wide enough, and that's where this 17mm lens comes in handy. Number 8. Rokinon 14mm f2.8 IF ED. This is the best budget lens for this photography genre. If you're doing small to medium-sized houses, this is the best option for you. Its focal length is 14mm and it can have a constant aperture of f2.8. There is some distortion, but it's not extreme at all. If you use software to correct lens distortion, it can take the distortion away in a single click. This model has manual focus and even manual aperture. It's going to speed up not only your editing workflow, but also the shooting process. It's a full-frame lens which is relatively sharp. And the combination of f2.8 aperture and 14mm focal length makes it the most optimal choice for your first lens. That would be it for the video. If you enjoyed it, kindly hit the like button and subscribe to our channel.